2014 Audi Q7, and there you go, look. And the customer is surprised that we've got lights on. Hello and welcome to another Bodgit and Leggit video. Yes, we've got a 2014 Q7, the one we did the injectors on, the one that the main dealers wanted over 10 grand to fix it, which wouldn't have fixed it. And the customer now has ABS light on. You can see the stability control came up and the traction control light. And I'm guessing, I haven't tried it yet, but I'm guessing the cruise control and stuff doesn't work. So what we're going to do is we're just plugging it in with the old Autel, and we're just going to read some codes and we're going to see exactly what's going on. Right, left hand wheel bearing, left hand ABS sensor, left hand rear. So what I'm going to do is we are just going to go out of here and I'm going to get some live data. Oh, I went out too far. I'm going to get some live data on all the wheel bearings, all the ABS, and we're going to see exactly what's going on. Right, so what I've done is I've just graphed them all because it's easier to see them. Now there is another graph on here which is even better, but the problem is I can't fit all four of them on the screen at once that way, so we're just going to go for this for the time being. Now what I'm looking for is, like I've explained in some of the videos, if this sensor is completely and utterly dead, so it's not working at all, that would suggest maybe a wiring issue or a sensor issue. If it's kind of jerking around and jumping up and down and kind of all over the place compared to the other ones, that would also suggest maybe a tone ring or a wheel bearing issue. So that kind of gives you a good indication. Now if there is a broken wire, normally depending on the car, it could read that it's doing 250 mile an hour even though it's just sitting there. It's like a default setting, so it lets the car know that there's an issue. So I'm just going to get on a straight bit of road and we're going to see. Oh, there's a tractor behind me and then I have to move. Right, what I'm going to do is I've actually yes, I know the screen's dirty, it's all water and crap. I'm going to graph the one that we're having an issue with and then just look at the bar graphs on the other ones. So I'm just going to go slowly first just to see, nice and slowly, make sure there's no dropouts. It's matching the same speed. I'm doing a straight line, so also bear in mind that too, when you're turning, the wheel sensors are going to be doing slightly different speeds because the wheels are doing slightly different speeds. Some cars you can only do this at 10-15 mile an hour before it cuts out. It doesn't allow you to read the live data, which is really annoying. Now that seems to be fine. He did say it kind of happened when he was going a lot faster than what we're going now, so we'll just do a bit more harder acceleration and see. Absolutely perfect. No dropouts, no nothing. Just let me monitor this for a little bit longer and I'll see if I can see anything. Right, absolutely typical. That graph has been absolutely steady. All the warning lights have gone off. The cruise control is now working. I'm on full cruise control, as you can see. The ABS light is still flashing because I'm in the ABS system, but you can see the traction control warning light has come off. This car is driving perfectly. It hasn't done anything. I've done kind of really slow, just letting the engine tick over and pulling forward, braking hard, hard acceleration, absolutely everything. It is an automatic, so it does need the ABS sensors. He did complain that when he was pulling out of a petrol station, he said he like the hill start thing came on, and he said he was really struggling to kind of go forward, and I think that could have been the ABS sensor maybe not wanting to change gear. I'm not sure if the rear ABS sensors will affect this. It could possibly, it depends which one. Some cars they need all four, some cars they just need one. I'd have to look at the system to see on this one, but at the minute it is absolutely perfect. It's not doing anything. I'm going to pull back over here I am going to be putting it on the lift to see, but at the minute it's doing absolutely nothing wrong. It's absolutely perfectly. This is just letting it go off in gear itself, so really slowly to see if there's any issues at slow speed. There just isn't. It's absolutely fine. If I floor it, heavy acceleration, absolutely fine. Yeah, frustrating at the minute because everything's working perfectly. Just got into the transmission, and that's what it's saying in there too. So that could have been his issue with him trying to you know, struggling to kind of move that time. But at the minute everything is working perfectly. Right, what I've done now is I've graphed 3 of them all the same, just in case I can see a slight difference in the graph. Now the graphs look fine to me, but I just wanted to make sure, so we'll just go nice and slow at first. Make sure the left rear isn't jerking or anything. It's going up just like the others, nice and kind of smooth, nothing wrong there. Kind of put my foot down a bit, again absolutely fine. At the minute I don't know, it's not really making sense. Maybe when because he did admit to me he was looking at his phone and he had to brake really hard because he was going to go up the arse of someone. Maybe that did something, maybe overheated something, or just I just at the minute I just really don't know, because this is working absolutely perfectly. Hopefully maybe once I get it on the lift I can hear a dodgy wheel bearing or something, or see something broken or something, because at the minute it's all looking good and doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Right, so I've got it on the lift, and the first thing I've seen, the back tyres are really bad. They're completely bored, which is, this is a 4-wheel drive, can cause all sorts of weird issue, especially when turning. Also, look at the brake disc, it kind of looks heat worn. Not too bad, but I can see there's a bit of heat cycle gone through that. Spinning the wheel around, and I can see 2 big huge cutouts on the wheel. Now, has this been curved and slightly jarred the wheel bearing? So I'm going to have to look at, but always good to check. And when we go underneath, you'll actually see how badly rusted this is. So is it rust jacketing? I'm also going to be showing a special tool, how to take them rounded Allen keys off from a special tool with hubby tools. Everything else looks pretty good here, nothing really to worry about. I wanted to check all the connections, making sure there was nothing broke and nothing rubbing, stuff like that. Look at the other side, we can see again rusty bolt, which is again quite annoying. I wanted to take the pin off just to see, are the pins okay, are the plugs okay. I can see the 2 pins down there, so that all looks good. Again, something else to check for, and the wheel bearing, no plate. Right, so I've just reset everything and everything is absolutely fine. I'm going to get him to put the tyres on first, because I have seen it before. It's maybe not an issue in this particular one, but it's something he's going to have to get done anyway, and then we can see if he really wants me to go at them screws or them nuts, because or them bolts, sorry, because they are really rusty. They are not going to come out easy, and even if they do come out, they're going to have to be replaced. And yeah, it could be awkward, so we're going to have to leave it up to the customer. Right, so like I said, I'm going to leave it until the customer gets the tyres. I have come across it in other vehicles, 4-wheel drive vehicles, where tyres have caused unusual things, let's say, like that, because if one wheel is spinning or slipping more than the other one, it doesn't know what's going on. It sees that the one speed is higher than the other where it shouldn't necessarily be, and it can kind of flag a fault code. Now, I'm not saying that's what's happening on this, but it's something we're going to have to kind of do first. And because the wheel bearing seems absolutely fine, the brakes, I checked the brakes, one of them wasn't sticking or getting hot or anything like that, because sometimes that can be an issue, heating up the sensor. I have done absolutely everything I possibly can to this, gone slow, gone fast, braked hard, braked slow, and it is absolutely 100%. And once everything's working 100%, you can't really test anything and you're just guessing. So I'm not also worried really about the pickup ring, because if there was an issue with the pickup ring, I would see it dropping out on the live data, because, you know, if it is split or cracked, it's always split or cracked, and it's going to be jumping out all over the place. I've done a video on showing actually, you know, how they work and what happens when that happens. Still could be an ABS sensor. It's definitely, you know, if anything, I'd be blaming an ABS sensor at the minute, but I did check the voltage, and the voltage on both rear sensors is exactly the same. So, you know, the wiring side of things seems okay. So it still could be an ABS sensor. I just don't want to call it yet until I can make it do something, because this ABS sensor is going to be quite expensive, I would imagine, and I don't want to be putting that into a car that it doesn't need it. So once we get the wheels, as you can see now, look, the lights are off, absolutely fine. They're on when I started it, but they're off now. So once we get the tyres, he's going to drive it around for a few days. If nothing happens, then I'm going to kind of blame the tyres. But if it does, or if something does happen, we can hopefully test it. At least we can rule out the tyres and maybe start looking at them ABS sensors a little bit more closely. It's just them bolts. I'm really afraid of them bolts. It's not going to be a simple job. I know for a fact that definitely the one on the rear left is bad. It's going to break. It's just not going to come off easy. So I don't want to go near it yet, because at the minute this car is still drivable. So we'll see. It's going to be a few days, maybe a week or so for me, but a few seconds for you. So we'll see what happens. Right, I've speeded this footage up because I got the customer to drive for me, because I was trying everything and I couldn't get it to do it. Now, he got new tyres, and that sorted out the jerkiness when he was trying to pull off. It never did that again. So the tyres were certainly causing an issue, but not, we basically had two issues. So I was getting him to drive because he's more used to it than me, getting it to do it, and we was driving it for ages, could not get it to do it. You can see on all the sensors here, they're all doing absolutely everything they should. I'm zooming into it, I'm zooming out of it, I'm pausing it, I'm doing everything I possibly can to see if I can see any slight issue, and it was absolutely perfect. So we're still driving and still absolutely perfect, as you can see. I'm gonna skip a lot of this because there's no point me showing you all this, but we just had to keep driving and driving and driving, and as soon as we got it to do it, I will then stop the video and I'll show you basically what we found. But it took a long time. If you cannot recreate the problem, you are just guessing. So I had to recreate the issue. It just, unfortunately, it took a long time to do that. Right, I got the customer to go really slowly. I just wanted to see if what was, and everything was absolutely perfect. But now look at that, bang, finally got it. It took forever, but we finally got it. You can see that ABS sensor on the rear left, just in and out. I know the wiring is 100%, and I know the tone ring is 100%, and I know that the wheel bearing is good. So 100% ABS sensor. You can just see it dropping in and out. Now this was a very intermittent fault. This wasn't doing it all the time. It took over 2 weeks for me to recreate this fault. Not obviously 2 weeks constant driving, but when I started it and I went back a few times and I couldn't get it to do it, so kind of the third or the fourth time within that 2 week period, I got the customer to drive it and we actually recreated the problem. This is the beauty thing about live data, but this is also why you need to graph it. If you was just to watch the numbers going up and down, it can be quite difficult to catch this. But the graphing shows it as clear as day. So there we go. ABS sensor, no doubt in my mind. Boom. Took a long time to get there, but we eventually got there. Sorted. Now we're going to show you how to put this Q7 into jack mode or wheel change mode. There's loads of different modes depending on how they word it, but it's all the same thing. So we're on the main menu. You can press the car button, or you can just toggle the switch to the car there. But all I'm going to do is just press the car button. So when I press the car button, it'll go into the car menu. Now some of them have a setup button, and the setup button's here where the menu button is on some of them. This doesn't have a setup button, so we're pressing the left bottom pad here. That will bring us into our setup mode, and then you can see we've got servicing and checks. So we click that, and then we go down to wheel change. Oh, there we go, that's too much. Wheel change on. And there we go. Now, what you also want to do, we'll just go back out there, is make sure it's fully lifted. So I've now got it fully lifted, but I had it fully lifted before I put it on the lift. And then you go into the jack mode or wheel change mode. And that's it. Simple as that. So, and that, if you don't do that, you can damage your airbags, you can pop them, you can do all sorts. The light comes on the dash to say that you've got it in that mode. Right, so you'll see on my previous video how to remove rusty Allen keys with this set here, how I actually managed to take off that bolt. As you can see, look, right at the edges, that's where it grips. It's all rusty on the inside, completely rounded. So now we can actually get to the ABS sensor, because we know this is now faulty. You can also see all the rust around it. I just kind of wiggled it. I just kind of wiggled it and got it out, but you can see all the rust behind there. So we're gonna have to clean all that up and clean all the rust up in there before we put the new sensor back. And then just turn off your ignition, turn it back on again, turn this to off, and there we go. And now we can actually start the car. I'm going to put it in auto mode because that's where it was originally. So this is now going to go down, and then I'm going to start the car, and then we're good to go. Right, it's another day now, and we finally got the new sensor. Genuine sensor from Volkswagen. There's the part number for everyone playing along at home. And we're using these again, just because, even though we put a new bolt in there, but why not? And we're on the floor. We got it in the jacked up position. And there we go, that's what we've got to take off now. So I did all the hard work yesterday in preparation for the new sensor. Right, always good to check the new part against the old one, just even though it's a main dealer part, you never know. And I have noticed a few differences. I always like to look at the name just to see if the same people are still making them. I wouldn't really worry about the name as such, but look, this could be a problem. I don't know if the new one is an upgraded part, but look at the different thicknesses of the end of the sensor. Now that's going to make a difference to the gap. There's a big difference in it. See the difference? Is that going to make a difference or not? I don't know, I'm going to find out. Right, I've just spoken to Audi because I know the lad in the parts department, and I just said, look, it is different. And the only reason I said it is because, you know, if there's any issues, I know I'll be able to take it back because they know me. And he said, look, that's a C. So this has been revised 2 times since this vehicle has been made. So the original one was A, then it was revised to B, and now it's revised to C. So they've actually, they actually have been making revisions to it. This is why it's good to get parts from the main dealer, especially sensors and stuff, because if they figure out that there is an issue with the original sensor, it doesn't work properly or it fails quite quickly, they'll make like an updated version, and you won't get that in the spurious market. To a degree, it normally takes a bit of time to catch up. So yeah, this is a C. So this is the 3rd division of this actual sensor. So what I've done now is I just pulled up some live data. Let me just take this for a spin and see what it looks like. Right, again, it seems to be doing everything it's supposed to be doing, and yeah, just gotta hope now, because I mean, we checked everything. It was the sensor, but it wasn't doing it all the time. So yeah, and like I said the other day, out of nowhere, the mirrors just started playing up, going up and down by themselves, or staying up locked. You're doing 40 miles an hour and all of a sudden they'll shoot up locked and doing all sorts. But then it is an Audi at the end of the day. Right, so all good. So I have to wait and see. All we can go is off what the error code says and what we diagnosed. And that's what we've done. So as always, I hope it helps. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Don't forget, links up here, links down below, but most important, don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one. Sorted.